The signal arrived on a Tuesday. Dr. Sarah Chen had been analyzing deep space transmissions for 15 years at the SETI facility in New Mexico, and she'd never seen anything like it. The pattern was too precise, too structured to be natural. Her hands trembled as she cross-referenced the data for the fourth time. "Director Matthews," she called, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "You need to see this." The signal's discovery would later be marked as humanity's first step into a much larger and more dangerous universe. But in that moment, as Sarah and her team worked through the night to decode the message, none of them could have predicted the web of deception they were about to enter. The Meridian Alliance, as they called themselves, arrived 3 months later. Their ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, sleek, crystalline vessels that reflected the sun's light like diamonds scattered across space. Their message was one of peace, trade, and cultural exchange. Admiral James Sullivan watched the alien delegation's arrival from the UN headquarters in New York, his weathered face betraying nothing of his inner thoughts. 20 years in naval intelligence had taught him to look beyond the obvious, to see the shadows behind the light. "They're too perfect," he muttered to his aide, Commander Maria Rodriguez. "Every gesture, every word, it's like they've studied us for years." The Meridians were humanoid, tall and elegant with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer under Earth's sun. Their ambassador, who called himself Nelith, spoke of grand possibilities. Technological exchange, medical advances, faster than light travel. World leaders were enthralled. Stock markets soared. Humanity celebrated. But in secure facilities deep beneath the Earth's surface, a different response was taking shape. The targeting data doesn't match their story. Lieutenant Emma Foster reported, her holographic display showing the positions of the Meridian ships. "Their diplomatic fleet is arranged in a classic attack formation. They're just far enough apart to maximize weapons coverage." Sullivan nodded, unsurprised. He stood in the heart of Operation Shadowkeeper, a classified facility buried beneath the Australian outback. Around him, dozens of analysts pored over every scrap of data about their visitors. "Their technology is advanced," Dr. Marcus Wong added, manipulating a 3D model of a Meridian vessel. "But it's not as advanced as they want us to think. They're hiding something, dampening their energy signatures, masking their true capabilities." For 6 months, Earth played along with the charade. They signed treaties, established trade protocols, and welcomed Meridian advisors into their governments. But beneath the surface, humanity prepared. The Chinese Super Soldier program accelerated in secret mountain facilities. Russian quantum computers worked day and night to crack Meridian encryption. American nanofactories churned out invisible swarms of microscopic defenders. And in the depths of Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon, the true heart of Earth's defense took shape. "Project Prometheus is ready," Sullivan announced to the Shadow Council, a secret body of military and scientific leaders from every major nation. "The moment they show their true intentions, we'll be ready." The Meridians never suspected. How could they? Their intelligence showed exactly what they expected to see. A young, naive species eager to join the galactic community. They saw the excitement in human eyes, heard the hope in human voices, and mistook it all for blind trust. They didn't understand that hope and paranoia could coexist in the human mind. They didn't grasp that humans could smile and plan for war at the same time. When Nilith transmitted the final signal to the Meridian fleet, he believed victory was assured. The humans had accepted their gifts, integrated their technology, and lowered their defenses. The invasion would be over in hours. But as the first Meridian warships dropped their peaceful facades and revealed their true weapons, Admiral Sullivan allowed himself a grim smile. Humanity had been preparing for this moment since they first looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. The real war was about to begin, and the Meridians were about to learn why humans had survived every catastrophe their harsh world had thrown at them. They were about to learn the cost of underestimating Earth. The warning came 3 minutes before the Meridian ships revealed their weapons. Just enough time for Admiral Sullivan to initiate the Shadow Protocol. Deep beneath the ice of Europa, massive fusion reactors hummed to life. In underground bases across Earth, soldiers donned experimental battle suits. And in orbit, thousands of seemingly innocent communications satellites shed their civilian disguises. All Shadow units, execute Protocol Omega. Sullivan's voice echoed through quantum-encrypted channels. This is not a drill. The Meridian's first strike targeted Earth's major military installations, or rather, what they thought were Earth's military installations. Their energy weapons carved through empty buildings and holographic projections, while humanity's real forces remained hidden and untouched. In his command center beneath Europa, Sullivan watched the tactical display with cold satisfaction. Send the signal to all civilian centers. Begin the evacuation. Across the globe, cities transformed. Skyscrapers sank into the ground on massive hydraulic systems. Streets split open to reveal entranceways to vast underground shelters. Within minutes, millions of civilians were being moved to safety through tunnels and transport systems built in secret over decades. The Meridians didn't immediately notice that their targets were evacuating. They were too focused on their seemingly successful first strike. Ambassador Nilith, now revealed as Fleet Commander Nilith, transmitted his victory message to all Earth frequencies. Your military infrastructure has been neutralized. His voice boomed across all channels. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Dr. Sarah Chen, now revealed as Colonel Chen of Earth Intelligence, sat at her real post in the Shadowkeeper facility. She allowed herself a small smile as she decoded the Meridian's tactical communications. Their attack pattern is exactly what we predicted, she reported to Sullivan. They're following standard Meridian military doctrine, the same patterns we extracted from their cultural exchange databases. In orbit, Commander Rodriguez coordinated Earth's hidden fleet. What the Meridians had mistaken for simple communications satellites were actually advanced weapon platforms, each equipped with quantum phase technology reversed engineered from studying the Meridian's own ships. All orbital units in position, she reported. Quantum grid is stable, ready to initiate counterattack on your order. The Meridians were still celebrating their apparent victory when humanity revealed its first surprise. From beneath the surface of Mars, massive electromagnetic pulse generators activated. The carefully timed pulses, designed specifically to match the frequency of Meridian shield technology, rippled through space. Nelith's triumphant expression turned to shock as warning alerts blared across his command ship. Their shields, supposedly impenetrable to Earth's primitive technology, flickered and failed. Impossible, he whispered, watching as the same thing happened to ship after ship in his fleet. Their technology level, we monitored them for years. But the EMPs were just the beginning. From their hidden bases across the solar system, humanity's real fleet emerged. These weren't the primitive rockets and shuttles the Meridians had observed. These ships were the product of decades of secret development, combining Earth's most advanced technology with carefully studied elements of alien design. Lieutenant Foster's voice was steady as she coordinated the attack from her stealth destroyer near Venus. All ships, execute attack pattern Delta. Remember your training. Everything we've prepared for starts now. The human ships moved with precision that shocked the Meridians. Their tactics were unpredictable, mixing strategies from Earth's long history of warfare with technologies the aliens had fought beyond human understanding. Quantum torpedoes phased through Meridian armor. Swarms of AI-controlled fighters executed maneuvers that would have killed organic pilots. And from Earth's surface, powerful gravity weapons, developed in secret by studying the Meridian's own propulsion systems, created localized space-time distortions that trapped enemy ships in temporal eddies. Dr. Wang's voice came through the command channel, monitoring the effectiveness of Earth's weapons. The quantum disruptors are working better than expected. Their ship's molecular bonds are destabilizing exactly as our simulations predicted. Sullivan watched as the first wave of Meridian ships fell to Earth's counterattack. But he knew this was just the beginning. The real test would come when the aliens recovered from their surprise and brought their full military might to bear. "All units, maintain combat positions," he ordered. "This is just their advance force. The main fleet will be coming soon." In his command ship, Nelith stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The humans had not only survived their first strike, they had turned it into a trap. His support fleet was in chaos, their supposedly superior technology neutralized by weapons that shouldn't have existed. As he prepared to send an emergency signal to the main Meridian Armada, Nelith finally understood what his people had missed in all their years of studying Earth. They had seen humanity's divisions and conflicts as weakness. They had interpreted human paranoia as primitive fear. They had never considered that those same traits, the constant preparation for the worst, the ability to cooperate while competing, the drive to survive at all costs, might be humanity's greatest strengths. The Shadow Protocol wasn't just a defensive plan. It was humanity's statement to the galaxy. Earth would not be conquered. Not today. Not ever. The Meridian main fleet arrived with a flash of light that briefly outshone Jupiter. 5,000 warships, each one dwarfing the vessels of the advance force, emerged from hyperspace in perfect battle formation. They had come prepared for serious resistance this time. Admiral Sullivan studied the tactical display in Europa Command, his expression unchanged. "Right on schedule," he murmured. "Colonel Chen, initiate Operation Sunset." In response to his command, Earth's forces began a fighting retreat. Ships disappeared behind planets and moons. Defense platforms went dark. Even the massive EMP generators on Mars fell silent. To the Meridian sensors, it appeared that humanity was falling back in disarray. Supreme Commander Vaxer of the Meridian Armada watched the human forces scatter with satisfaction. As expected, he transmitted to his fleet commanders. Their initial success was merely luck. Now they see our true power. The massive Meridian fleet pressed forward, their formation spreading out to envelope the solar system in an inexorable advance. Their sensors probed every sector, searching for hidden human forces, but found only retreating ships and powered-down facilities. What they didn't detect were the quantum entanglement nodes scattered throughout the asteroid belt, each one a tiny particle, impossible to distinguish from natural space debris, yet all connected in an invisible web of instant communication. Dr. Wum's voice was barely a whisper in the command center. "The quantum net is reading all their ships. Every frequency, every power signature, every shield modulation. The AI is building targeting solutions." The Meridians pushed forward, growing more confident with each passing hour. Their advance force had clearly stumbled against a lucky prepared defense, but now humanity's true weakness was showing. Their fleet approached Mars, weapons charged, ready to finish what they had started. That's when Operation Sunset revealed its true nature. Lieutenant Foster's voice rang through the command channel. "All Phantom units, execute combat pattern Omega. Bring the sunset." From within the asteroid belt, thousands of automated drones suddenly activated. Each one carried a miniaturized version of the quantum technology the humans had developed. But instead of weapons, these drones had a different purpose. They began to sing. The quantum harmonics rippled through space, each drone adding its voice to a carefully calculated symphony of destruction. The overlapping waves created patterns of constructive and destructive interference, precisely tuned to the frequencies of Meridian technology. Commander Rodriguez watched from her stealth flagship as the first effects became visible. Quantum resonance cascade initiating. All ships hold position. Across the Meridian fleet, systems began to fail. Not with dramatic explosions or visible damage, but with a subtle, inexorable deterioration. Their quantum-based technology, far more advanced than what they believed humans capable of understanding, began to break down at the subatomic level. "Impossible," Supreme Commander Vaxer shouted as his flagship systems reported cascading failures. "Their technology is primitive. They cannot understand quantum mechanics at this level." But humanity had understood. They had spent years studying every scrap of Meridian technology, every casual demonstration, every diplomatic gift. And they had discovered something crucial. The more advanced the technology, the more vulnerable it was to quantum interference. From his command center, Sullivan finally allowed himself a grim smile. All combat units, execute attack pattern Delta. Show them what primitive really means. Earth's forces emerged from hiding, but this time they didn't rely on advanced technology. Instead, they unleashed weapons based on the most basic principles of physics. Kinetic kill vehicles accelerated to relativistic speeds. Electromagnetic railguns fired projectiles that needed no complex guidance systems. Clouds of simple metal particles, spread by explosive charges, shredded the delicate sensor arrays of Meridian ships. Colonel Chen's voice was calm as she reported, quantum disruption at 90% effectiveness. Their ships are losing coherence. The Meridian fleet, their sophisticated weapons and defenses reduced to useless arrays of exotic particles, found themselves facing an enemy that had planned for this exact scenario. An enemy that had deliberately appeared weaker than they were, only to spring a trap that turned the aliens' own technological superiority against them. Supreme Commander Vaxar watched in horror as his mighty armada began to crumble. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were systematically dismantling every advantage the Meridians had thought they possessed. Dr. Wong's analysis flowed through the command channels. Their quantum field collapse is accelerating. Estimate total fleet shutdown in 17 minutes. But Sullivan knew better than to celebrate early. Maintain battle positions, he ordered. Remember your training. This isn't over until every Meridian ship is neutralized or retreating. As their ships failed around them, the Meridians finally began to understand. Humanity hadn't just prepared for invasion. They had anticipated exactly how an advanced civilization would attack and developed countermeasures that turned technological sophistication into a weakness. The false dawn of apparent human weakness was giving way to the harsh light of truth. And in that light, the Meridians were about to learn another lesson about humanity. Winning the first battle wasn't the same as winning the war. Supreme Commander Vaxar had never faced defeat in 3 centuries of military service. But as he watched his mighty armada drift powerless in space, he was forced to acknowledge a terrible truth. The humans had outmaneuvered them completely. All functional ships. Emergency jump to rally point Theta, he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of bitter resignation. Less than a quarter of his fleet still retained enough power to activate their jump drives. But humanity wasn't finished teaching the Meridians about warfare. Detection of jump signatures. Lieutenant Foster reported from her command post. They're attempting to retreat to their fallback position. She paused, allowing herself a small smile. Exactly where we predicted. Admiral Sullivan nodded. Initiate Operation Checkmate. At rally point Theta, 12 light hours from Earth, the retreating Meridian ships emerged from their emergency jumps. They expected to find safety in the empty void. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by another human fleet, one that had been waiting patiently in the darkness of space for precisely this moment. This is Commander Helena Zhao of the Earth Deep Space Fleet. A new voice transmitted on all frequencies. We've been waiting for you. The Meridians discovered that humanity hadn't just built defenses in their solar system. While the aliens had focused their attention on Earth, humans had been secretly constructing forward bases and staging areas throughout nearby space, preparing for every contingency. In Europa Command, Dr. Wong's holographic displays showed the tactical situation with crystal clarity. The quantum disruption has spread to their backup systems. They're operating on emergency power only. Colonel Chen added, their command and control network is fragmenting. We're picking up distress calls on all frequencies. But Sullivan had seen too many battles to assume victory too soon. All units maintain combat readiness. Commander Zhao, execute with caution. Wounded animals are often the most dangerous. He was right to be cautious. Supreme Commander Vaxar, facing the end of his career and possibly his civilization's military dominance, made one final desperate gambit. "All ships, initiate Core Protocol Omega," he transmitted, "for the glory of the Meridian Alliance." The effect was immediate. The remaining Meridian ships began to glow with an intense, unstable energy signature. They were overloading their quantum cores, preparing to detonate them in a last-ditch suicide attack that would devastate everything within several light minutes. Commander Rodriguez's sensors picked up the energy spike instantly. "Multiple quantum core breaches detected. They're going to take us all with them." But once again, humanity had prepared for even this eventuality. "Execute Contingency Omega," Sullivan ordered calmly. "Deploy the quantum sinks." From the holds of Earth's ships emerged what looked like simple black spheres, thousands of them, each no larger than a human fist. They were the product of Project Prometheus's most closely guarded research, artificial quantum singularities designed to absorb and contain exotic energy. As the Meridian ships reached critical levels, the quantum sinks activated. Space itself seemed to bend around them as they began drawing in the destructive energy of the overloading cores. What should have been a devastating chain reaction of quantum explosions instead became a controlled containment operation. Dr. Wang's voice held a note of awe as he monitored the process. Quantum absorption rate at optimal levels. Containment fields holding steady. The Meridian suicide gambit, their final desperate attempt to snatch victory from defeat, had failed. In its wake, Supreme Commander Vaxar found himself facing a choice he had never imagined possible. Surrender to a species his people had dismissed as primitives. Commander Zhou's voice carried across space once more. "Your cores have been neutralized. Your weapons are offline. You have one opportunity to surrender and preserve the lives of your crews. The choice is yours, but be aware, our patience has limits." In Europa Command, Sullivan watched the tactical display with the same steady gaze he had maintained throughout the battle. But now there was something else in his expression. Not triumph, but a deep weariness. "Open a channel to Supreme Commander Vaxar," he ordered. "I think it's time we had a frank discussion about humanity's place in the galaxy." As the remaining Meridian ships powered down their systems in surrender, Commander Rodriguez voiced what many were thinking. "They really didn't understand us at all, did they?" Sullivan shook his head. "No, they didn't. They saw our divisions as weakness, our paranoia as primitive fear, our technological progress as linear and predictable. They never understood that humans don't just plan for the best outcome. We plan for every outcome." The battle was over, but Sullivan knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had revealed itself as a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy would never be the same. The question now was whether the Meridians would learn from their mistake, or if this was just the first of many battles to come. Either way, humanity was ready. They had stepped onto the galactic stage, not as victims or easy conquests, but as warriors who had spent their entire history preparing for this moment. And they had no intention of stepping back. 3 days after the battle, Admiral Sullivan stood in the newly revealed council chamber beneath Geneva, facing not just Earth's leaders, but also the defeated Supreme Commander Vaxar. The Meridian leader's iridescent skin had lost its luster, but his bearing remained proud even in defeat. "You could have destroyed us entirely," Vaxar said, his translator conveying the complex mix of emotions in his voice. "Yet you chose to offer surrender. Why?" Sullivan's response was measured. "Because destruction isn't our goal. Never was. We prepared for war precisely so we could maintain peace." The chamber's holographic displays showed the aftermath of the battle, disabled Meridian ships being towed to secure facilities, quantum sync devices containing the remnants of the overloaded cores, and most importantly, the dozens of communication signals now being detected from other alien civilizations across the galaxy. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her analyst's mind having already processed the implications. The battle was broadcast across all quantum frequencies. Every spacefaring race within 1,000 light-years saw what happened. They saw both our strength and our restraint. The signals they were receiving weren't just messages of congratulation or diplomatic overtures. Many were warnings about other threats, information about hostile species, and offers of genuine alliance. Humanity's victory over the Meridian Alliance had reshaped the galactic political landscape overnight. Commander Rodriguez's hologram appeared in the chamber, transmitting from her new position coordinating Earth's rapid expansion into space. We've already received technology exchange offers from 17 different civilizations. Real exchanges this time, not the manipulative scraps the Meridians fed us. And that's the true lesson here, isn't it? Dr. Wong added, his fingers dancing across his quantum tablet as he analyzed the incoming data. The galaxy thought they were watching a primitive species being conquered. Instead, they saw something unprecedented, a young race that had secretly prepared for everything, yet chose mercy over vengeance. But victory brought its own challenges. Lieutenant Foster's security teams had already prevented 3 attempted infiltrations by other alien species seeking to steal the secrets of Earth's quantum sync technology. The galaxy's attention was now firmly fixed on humanity, for better or worse. We knew this would happen, Sullivan reminded them. It's why we didn't reveal everything during the battle. The quantum sinks, the stealth systems, the Europa facilities. We kept our most advanced technologies in reserve. Vaxar's translator crackled as he spoke again. You still don't trust us, even now. Trust is earned, Sullivan replied. Your people spent years deceiving us, planning to conquer us. Did you really expect us to reveal all our capabilities at once? The truth was, humanity had only shown a fraction of what they had developed in secret. The quantum technology that had defeated the Meridians was just the surface. Deep beneath Europa's ice, in hidden facilities across Earth, and in classified research stations scattered throughout the solar system, humans continued to innovate and prepare. Commander Zhao's deep space fleet was already establishing forward bases in nearby star systems, not for conquest, but to ensure humanity would never again be surprised by threats from the void. Earth's leaders had learned long ago that the best way to prevent war was to be permanently ready for it. So what happens now? Vaxar asked, genuine curiosity in his tone. President Chen of the United Earth Government stood, her presence commanding attention. Now we build something new. The Meridian Alliance ruled through deception and force. Humanity proposes a different path. Strength through honest cooperation. Peace through shared preparation. The message being broadcast back to the gathering alien civilizations was clear. Humanity was willing to join the galactic community, but on their own terms. They would not be conquered, controlled, or manipulated. Any race that attempted to do so would face the same devastating response the Meridians had encountered. We're establishing the Sol Concordat, President Chen announced. An alliance of species committed to mutual defense and genuine technological exchange. All are welcome to join, including the Meridian systems, provided they accept our core principle. Which is? Vaxar asked, though his expression suggested he already knew the answer. Sullivan smiled slightly. No more deception. No more hidden agendas. We've had enough of those to last several lifetimes. As the council chamber filled with representatives from Earth's various nations and military branches, the scope of humanity's achievement began to sink in. They had not only survived their first major interstellar conflict, they had turned it into an opportunity to reshape galactic politics. The quantum communications network was already buzzing with responses to the Sol Concordat proposal. Many were positive, some were hostile, but all of them treated humanity with a new respect. Earth was no longer seen as a primitive world ripe for conquest. It had become something far more interesting, and perhaps far more dangerous. A young species that had outthought and outmaneuvered one of the galaxy's oldest powers. We'll be watched more closely than ever, Dr. Chen cautioned. Every species in the galaxy will be analyzing what happened here, trying to understand how we did it. Let them watch, Sullivan replied. Let them analyze. They'll learn the same lesson the Meridians did. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to prepare for the worst while working toward the best. As the Council chamber continued its historic session, new reports arrived from deep space telescopes and quantum sensors. More ships were approaching Earth, diplomatic vessels this time, carrying representatives from dozens of alien civilizations. The galaxy was changing, and humanity had been the catalyst. The stars had indeed looked back at Earth, but they had found something unexpected. A species that refused to be conquered, that turned invasion into opportunity, and that offered mercy from a position of strength. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity's journey to the stars had only just begun.